The opinions expressed on this program are those of the program host and guest and are not necessarily those of this station, management, staff, and sponsors. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any production or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time now for the Crown Car Care Show. Call in with questions and comments, 220-9788, 220-WSTU. Now, here's your host.
February 21st.
Whoa.
Right?
Oh, what happened?
Oh,
Is that working?
It floated away.
All right.
You know, these are free floating microphones.
Yeah.
You remember the
You
ones
were
that the
talking.
springs? You ever seen those ones that are like dangling in a spring and they were these gigantic things?
Oh, yeah.
In the old days. The
Oh,
big
yeah.
I think Paul Harvey had one.
Did he?
Yeah. Big thing. Springs
Oh,
everywhere.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's
It was like a boom mic.
yeah, he was quite the
Orator.
Yes.
Yes.
He knew what words to create, and he actually has a famous prediction. It's quite lengthy, and he's quite known for it. I believe he recorded it in the early 60s, and it's relevant today, and many people play it as almost a Notre Dame type
Okay.
event
Okay.
because he predicts everything.
Really?
Yeah, very interesting. He didn't predict Tesla, though.
No. No.
No, he didn't.
No.
And that's what we're going to
But-
talk about
But
today.
he did predict the entrepreneurship of Americans. The strength of what makes America unique in
Yes.
the world is our ability to anybody can rise to any degree of prominence within our system here in the U.S.
Completely agree.
Yes.
But you have to push yourself.
Yes.
You, have to
be
not
driven.
accept no. I believe Paul Harvey had a son that was not quite up to his standards, if I'm not mistaken. I believe there was some issues. His son, not 100%, but I believe I'm correct.
Okay.
But I used to listen to him as a kid in college
Mm-hmm.
when I was working for the village of Mundelein, Illinois. I was working for well, I'll tell you a good story when I worked there, and it has to do with nepotism and unions. But we will talk about. I did do those air-powered things that you dig up the roads.
Yeah, air hammers.
Did that.
Yes.
Laid asphalt, tar the roof.
Jackhammer, I think it's called.
Jackhammer, tar the
Yes.
roof.
Mhm.
Had to cut grass.
Yeah.
And I was given a truck, a mower, and a trailer.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, it gave me the week, an assignment for the week.
Hmm.
And I finished it in less than a day. And he pulled me into the office, the supervisor. And he said, "Todd, you're going too fast."
Making the rest of us look bad.
Exactly. He told me with no uncertain terms, I had to slow down.
Yeah.
He said, "Just go take a nap or whatever you got to do, but please do not be going this fast.
My
Guys will kill you."
My dad had the same experience when he worked at Hudson Motor Car Company.
He worked for Hudson?
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Wow.
So he had a buddy so my dad's job was something to do with the dashboard. Had to put like the radio or something inside the dashboard. And so he had a buddy that did the headlamps and another buddy that did something else on the car. That was their job. And both of those guys wanted to call out for half the day.
Sure.
So they asked my dad, "Would you cover for us?" So he did his radio, he did the headlamps, and he did the other job. And somebody from the office called him in and says, "Yeah, you're doing the work of 3 people.
Slow down."
Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah. But he didn't lose any, they didn't lose any time on the line.
Now,
and
I'm telling you this story, and I'm able to fully grasp it. But at the time, my young mind, I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, I was offended. I was like almost ready to cry. I thought, "Oh my gosh, what did I do?"
Right.
I didn't know. I can't even tell you. It's a consciousness that as you get older, you realize and see things that you just didn't. You didn't know what you didn't know. I had no idea what that meant.
Right.
When I was told that, it didn't. It was just I was taking instructions, and I never contemplated it at that point. I just took the instructions,
Right.
and didn't know why.
Mhm.
I didn't understand the nuts and bolts of why I was having to slow down.
Yeah. Whoops.
Because I was trying to get done as fast as I can with the best quality.
Of course.
Because that's the way I've always been.
Right.
I want to do the best job I can in the most efficient way to maximize just me. I'm built that way. Right.
Yes.
I'm not going to go fast with sloppy work.
No.
But you balance that speed with efficiency. And I wanted to, like, it would be like the what is it called? The bird dog bringing the bird home.
Yeah.
There's a sense of pride in
yes.
terms of if you do the job efficiently and fast.
Right.
That a boy.
Yes.
I thought I was going to get a that a boy. I got slapped on the wrist.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Slow down, young man. I love it.
So true story.
Yeah.
Village of Mundelein,
Mundelein.
Mundelein, Illinois.
Nice.
Famous next to Libertyville.
Oh.
And now when I was in high school, everyone always said the girls in Mundelein are better looking.
Whoa.
Just because, it's always the town over has all the girls.
Yes. It's
but we didn't know.
No.
There's no internet. There was a phone book, and you call that, and you get their parents.
The grass is always greener on the other side.
But back in that time, it was. What is it? What is that called when there's a false story about something? A false story about, say, Frank, and it's not true, and it starts to grow as people
it's
tell.
Meme, yeah. It's like a meme or something.
There's a word that describes it, a legend or
a legend. Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
There'd be this story that would grow
Mm-hmm.
on one false premise, and it would become fact by the time
Well, of
the
course.
school day ended.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything happened.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And that was in Mundelein.
Okay.
One summer I think it was my freshman summer. I worked 3 jobs.
Nice.
I think I worked there. I think I worked at a amusement park.
That must have been amusing.
Selling popcorn and drinks underneath a big wood roller coaster.
Oh yeah. Well, so that could be a problem. Did you wear a helmet?
I had and it was run by a Mormon organ. It was Marriott's a Mormon company.
Okay.
Mormon. So they had short hair. Here's another great story. They called me up. That was nights. And first story is I went to work after working at the Village of Mundelein. Drove right to there, and my hair was long because I never had time to cut it. And they sent me home to get my hair cut. My mom cut it real quick, and I went back to work because I was so upset at that time. You wanted to do a good job,
right?
People just call in sick, and they almost take advantage of the system. Whereas me, I wanted to be able to perform in the system. I wanted to show the system that I was worthy.
Yeah.
Now people don't do that.
No.
So the story on this is, I got a call. It was a Saturday or Sunday, and I wasn't on my schedule to work. And they said, "Can you come in? Somebody's sick." Absolutely. Right. I went in, and the supervisor said, "Oh, this guy was sick. You go ahead and take over." And every night you have to count the money.
Well, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so I count my money.
Mm-hmm.
And it was short hundreds of dollars.
Ooh.
But I had not switched the drawers. It was just I took over this sick kid.
Right.
And they called me in, and I started to cry. I broke down. They were accusing me of stealing. They told me they were going to call the police and everything. I said, "Look, I filled in for this." Again, though, when you're young like that, you don't think about that aerial view that we're talking about.
Right.
I was just caught in this thing, and I didn't know what to do.
Right.
I'm innocent. Breaking down in tears. I didn't steal anything. They got the other guy to confess. He stole it. He faked his sickness to get the money.
Right. He took the money, and
Then he called out sick to have me fill in, and I was the fall guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It didn't take long to figure that out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He didn't have to be Columbo.
It's a true story, though.
Yeah.
So it was just horrible.
Yeah.
Yes,
of course.
So stuff went on even back in
of course.
1981.
1981.
Just right after the 70s.
Wow.
Was it Jimmy Carter was president? Jimmy Reagan.
Reagan.
Reagan was in.
Yeah.
Reagan was in.
Yeah.
So it was Ronald Reagan, but that was another story of me working. Went away to school last week, Frank. I was up in Massachusetts.
Yes.
And I can't say the town because there's no R in it, even though it's in the word.
Worcester.
Worcester.
Yeah, I bet you. Could they say Worcestershire sauce? How do they say that?
I can't even say it. So I arrived.
Yes.
At Worcester.
Yes.
International Airport, which was for the town. Now Worcester is.
They have an international.
Let me describe international. 2 gates.
2 gates. Okay. Worcester Two-Gate Airport. Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Check.
But it is the second largest city in the whole Northeast up in that area.
Good.
Worcester, yeah.
Who would have thunk it?
I would never have thought it.
No.
A lot of old factories with those. At night, it's beautiful. It was the second night. No, it was the first night. No, second night. First night I was there.
Yes.
6-inch blizzard.
Yes.
I mean, it just snowed and snowed and snowed and snowed, but it was neat because when it snows, when it sticks,
quiet.
Yeah, because it absorbs the sound.
Yeah.
Right? Just like cold air makes
Mm.
everything smell good. You smell everything in cold air because the molecules of the air are closer together and it absorbs. It floats more of the smell closer together, so there's more concentrated. It's like perfume.
Mm.
So that's why it smells on cold weather. The roach coach, you can always smell the sausage cooking.
Yeah.
2 blocks down, or the diner that's cooking the onion rings.
Yeah. Or the hamburgers. Yeah.
Or if you live by an Outback Steakhouse, you can smell the blooming onion.
Yes.
But things happen the next day when you eat those.
Yes.
I can tell you, there's a problem that occurs.
There's a blooming problem.
Especially if you have too much of the sauce.
Yeah.
Okay,
Woo.
so I'm there the second night and back to Worcester. So envision this. I took some pictures. It's snowing and it's blowing and it's quiet. And of course, I've got to get from the hotel. No, it wasn't a hotel. It was a motel. It was, I'm not going to say the name, but it was an older place. Great place, great people. Except, here's another good story. I walk in. So the guy at the front desk, his first day on the job.
Aw.
So I'm doing my stuff, and I hand him my wife had made reservations for the first night, thinking that the schooling wasn't going to be paying the first night. So I had double booked the room.
Oh, okay.
So I had paid for it, and the school had paid for it.
Got
I need to get a credit.
Yeah.
So my wife had put together a packet that had stapled that had all my flight information, my hotels, when I needed to be where. And I handed it to him. And he goes, no, gave me the credit, gave me my room key. And he never gave me the thing back, which building up to the story here. So I go up to the room or attempt to go into the room, and I'm putting it's one of those credit card the cards. You put the card in.
Magnetic lock, yeah.
I put it in, it turns from red to green, little square.
Yes.
No, when you open the door, you pull the handle down, right? You push down on it.
So, yes.
Down.
Yes.
Keep pushing on this thing. I'm like, I can't break this thing. It's my first night. I'm not going to break the door. And wait a minute. Let me go up. Someone had mounted
the door handle
upside down.
Yes.
So you had to go up
to
open the door. So, and then I looked at, I don't have my paperwork. So I go back down there and I'm trying to, I asked, you got my paperwork? Paperwork? What paperwork? I said, I was just here 5 minutes ago. The stuff you took to, yeah. It's my first night. Okay, well, you don't, because it's your first night, you don't have short-term memory loss. That's for us older people, right? Not young whippersnappers.
That's because they don't have enough vitamin, from vitamin D from the sun. they've been in the cold, the dark north.
So he reaches down in the garbage can. There's, food on top of it at this point. He hands it. Oh, this one. I said, yeah, can I have it back? I mean, it's like, I kind of need it. It's like air. When you need it, right?
Right.
I gave it back. And I said, oh, by the way, I said, your door up there. I said, I don't know when this place was built or how you guys operate up here in Massachusetts, but I've always been taught that the door handle is when you go down, you turn it clockwise, right? Every door I've ever seen, it's a clockwise spin.
Right.
But, when you go up, it's counterclockwise, right? Just the way it's always been. And I had of course I got in because I'm the weirdo that always does things differently than people when I have a problem. I told him, it went in one ear and out the other. I says, you need to put a sign. I said, are all your doors this way?
Yeah. I don't know.
I says, you're going to have a lot of aggravated people because most people would not be getting in that door.
Right.
Even though the key was going up, most people would not figure that out. I'll tell you right now.
Right.
They would not do it.
So,
they would burn in the building before they would lift up on the knob. Right? Most would. Yeah. I said, you need to put a sign up on your thing. I said, here's a good tip for you. It's your first night. Put a sign up here that all your door handles go up to open. Now, I didn't test it, but if one's that way, it can't be. because usually it's a full-time maintenance guy that does all that stuff.
You would think
If you
so.
put one upside down, there's got to be more.
You would think so. Law of averages would agree with you.
I don't know. So in any case,
So you're in Worcester.
I'm in Worcester.
Yes.
So the original part of the story was it's snowing, it's beautiful,
yes.
and there is some calming beauty to snow and the silence. But in Worcester, it's an old town. Remember, all up in the Northeast, it's old.
Yes.
There's no land left.
No.
Every bit of land has either got an old building on it or a business.
It's all spoken for.
It's all spoken for. Now here, we don't know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Uh,
Uh-oh. All right. We got a caller on our newsmaker line. Go ahead, Charlie. I mean, caller.
It's Tom. It's Tom. Tom, terrific.
Tommy. I like it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
anyway, I figured out the reason for the left-handed door handle
yes.
going to the.
Yes.
It probably was a left-handed or a dyslexic. You know, when you think about it, right?
I could figure it out. But it took, it took me about 4 or 5 tries to get there.
Well, that's because you're not dyslexic, you know. But you're a special person, Todd.
Well, we
Now,
all are. I don't know about that.
I have a buddy for over 20 years who grew up in Worcester.
Really?
Yeah, he's a Korean War vet. He's 90 years old. He lives in North River Shores. He's a good friend of mine.
Oh, wow.
And oddly enough, the person across the street cuts his lawn. I hired him to cut my lawn too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, do you realize that there's a Greg Wyatt, the great, is on 1590 doing an Indian River State College girls and guys?
Yes,
Basketball.
basketball. IRSC.
I'm torn.
He's the boss.
Mhm.
I'm torn. I know. You should be reporting in occasionally.
Well, his
right.
a picture of him graces world headquarters here, him and his wife.
That's right.
So I told him he reminds me of Joe D. He's the greatest announcer of all time. He worked for Bristol. I'm sure Greg knows him.
Greg got his start is a great story. He filled in as an underage announcer that he was, the story.
You're exactly right. Yeah. He was filling in for Ernie Harwell, and Ernie was the Detroit Tigers announcer.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
and he was referred to as the kid. They couldn't give him a name because
he was underage.
Because of the work guidelines for that. It's like being in Hollywood, the Actors Guild,
Yes,
and all
yes.
that.
Yeah,
So it's a union.
He was the kid.
Yeah. So he was just
Greg,
the kid.
The kid Wyatt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I love that story. And ironically, when that ball game aired, I was actually listening to that game with
Yes.
earphones on because it was late at night because it was California.
Was it a transistor radio by
little
chance?
transistor radio, and
Wow.
and so not to bother the rest of the kids in the household and my parents, so I had the earphones on, and I'm, in bed listening to the ball game, and to my amazement, even though he was introduced as a kid, it sounded like a younger Ernie Harwell. It was
Wow.
he really
He gets into it. I
Yeah.
mean, totally gets into it.
And he was one of the
Yeah.
founders of the ESPN. He
Mhm.
was in the ground floor when the ESPN was formed.
Yeah. Look at old Bristol. I was in the Hartford Current.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
selling advertising, always in trouble.
Yes. Yes. So
Yeah.
I was up in Worcester for a week. Cold.
Worcester. Yeah.
Worcester. It's old place up there. A lot of buildings are just have, I'm sure, a colorful
Well,
past.
it's old New England. That's what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
He grew up in a building with his family, the whole building, like 4 floors. So,
And there's a pizza,
I like
a
that.
mom and pop pizza joint on every corner
Yes.
in like an older
Oh.
building, not a strip mall, like something
Yeah.
that's been
I
there
had it.
30 years.
I had an Uncle Rocco, that owned and ran a vegetable stand
Nice.
in like Brooklyn.
Yes.
Mm.
It's the old days.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're getting old too, You
Yeah.
guys are young kids.
Well, I don't know about that, but we're getting up
It's
there.
true.
Yeah, I
It's
know
true.
that.
You know that,
Yes. Yes.
young people.
These young
Whippersnappers.
whippersnappers, they don't know what they're doing or talking about, do they? They can't even open a door up in Worcester.
I know. Well, they're all backwards people up there. They're dyslexic, and they're probably. We're not supposed to talk politics, but that's a blue state. You know?
Oh, it is. And I'm going to tell you right now, you
Everything
have
is
to
the
watch what
reverse.
you say and do. Trust me.
No, it is. Massachusetts. My sister's a Republican. The only people there that are, they have a brownstone on Appleton Street, walking distance to Fenway,
Huh.
and a place on the Cape. They belong up there. Her husband was CFO for digital equipment.
Huh.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Masters from MBA from Harvard.
Harvard.
Now they're blackballing Harvard. They're not giving him any more money. You know?
Yeah.
The lady got in trouble again, by the way. The dean that was kicked out.
Oh,
She got in trouble for plagiarism again. It was on the news yesterday.
Well, she had done a closing or did something with an address or something, and she plagiarized it. That's what I had read originally. I could be wrong, but
well, it was on the news that she got caught for plagiarism. Again.
Yeah, but there was some other
all
situation
that
too with her that was surfaced. It had nothing to do with plagiarism. It was something else. I can't recall it. Impropriety or an act of some sort that was involved in something. So
really?
may have been nepotism, may have been some award. It was an awarding of something, maybe a favorable.
Well, she got awarded something, and she shouldn't have.
Well, of course not. Anybody can.
She's a fake. You know.
If I cut and paste a paragraph, for heaven's sakes, it's not me.
Yeah,
I mean, it's.
She could have done it and given credit to the people she was quoting.
And you would be just as well. You'd be just as respected if you genius doesn't mean you have to create everything yourself. Genius means that you use all your resources, assimilate a wonderful product, and give credit where credit is due, and you're still a genius.
No, I understand that, but she, as a PhD in education, you have to get an original idea.
You would.
Right. Well, they might want to go back and look at her thesis.
Right. She steals from other people. But anyway, guys, I love you, but I love the Indian River.
You get back to Greg Wyatt.
All right.
He's got a radio name too.
Guys, but I had to call.
Well, thank you for calling.
Being your big audience. Right?
Well, I know.
I know. All right.
Thanks a lot. Take care. All right.
We were going to do a Tesla show today, but my goodness, it's half over. Well, let's take a break and we'll come back and we'll start right into the meat and potatoes of this thing.
Yes, we have a lot more to cover. We're going to both learn and share information about how to buy and use and learn to use your Tesla. We'll be right back. So stick with us. All right, we're back. You're listening to the Crown Car Care Power Hour.
I think we need to get into the news. We've somehow got sidetracked in Massachusetts.
Well, it's all right.
It was a good sidetrack.
Yes. So a couple things going on in the automotive world. And one thing is, let's see now, Mercedes-Benz unit takes on U.S. deficit, charging deficit. So that's a view from Washington. Yeah, Tesla's stainless steel Cybertruck. About a week ago, we were talking about the Cybertruck having complaints of rust stains. Turns out that it was just stuff that fell on top of the
Fall on any car.
Yeah.
But if it's silver, DeLorean, if we were to look into the archives, I would think DeLorean would have had the same.
There was similar complaints probably about DeLoreans. Yeah. Sure, I would imagine.
Well, think about.
But it's just tree sap, and we have the pine pollen down here.
Think about most elevators are usually made out of stainless steel on the inside.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I don't know where I think it was a janitor trick I learned is you use the furniture polish, furniture oil
wax.
Yeah, and it shines up the stainless steel. It makes it look like new. I guess I get whatever new means, but it freshens it up. The stainless steel.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yes.
So can you paint stainless steel? I suppose you could.
Yes.
It will adhere.
You have to use a bonding primer, but sure. Yes.
Because you're the paint expert. You're the Martin County paint expert. Is all I'm going to say.
I don't know.
Well, you owned.
Yes,
you owned half of the city, right? This building we're in, you owned all the property around it, Frank.
Well,
you were like,
that was back in the day.
What was that movie with it was at Christmas time when the guy they take all the mortgages and what was that? Christmas Past or who was the guy? What was
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life, but the name of the guy that had all the real estate.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of his name.
Yeah,
it wasn't you, is it?
No,
I mean, you had multiple units.
Yes.
A couple city blocks.
So here's a little Ford news for you, and then we'll go on with our Tesla news. But Ford calls back their salaried workers back to the office for at least 3 days a week. So the salaried workers.
There's been layoffs there, by the way, on the EV plants.
Yes. But so what Ford is doing, I think, is they picked up on what Tesla was doing with their employees, and then Twitter, Elon
avoiding
Musk,
benefits by having them work part time.
No, he's telling his workers that you can't do work remote from home. You have to come in.
Oh,
the
I'm
office.
completely against it.
Yeah, work from home.
If you want to see a company demise fast, have everybody stay at home and work. There's no genius, there's no creativity, there's no aha moments, there's no teamwork, there's nothing.
Right. It's just
as well
garbage
as I
in,
do.
garbage out.
As well as I do. If you're staying at home, you're not going to be working. You're faking it.
Yeah.
Most are. I'm going to be working. You're going to be working, but most people are not going to be working.
No, it's just a handful of people can do that.
Yes, you and I are one of them.
Yes. So Ford took a page from Tesla and said, sure, if you want to work at home, you can do that 2 days a week, but 3 days a week you have to be in the office. I like it.
Me too.
So.
Ask me some questions about my experience up at there, because before the show you were asking me some interesting, and ask me those ones that you got free reign to ask anything.
Okay, so here's the question that I'm wondering: because we all have our own preconceived notions, when you got there, has your opinion changed on Tesla, and do you feel like you've either peeled the onion or looked under the curtain?
I've looked under the curtain.
Yeah. All right. I
have any preconceived notion that I've had. Some of we're cheerleaders of Tesla, but you and I are cheerleaders in the sense that if we see something that doesn't smell right, we've brought it to the attention of our listeners.
Correct.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part,
we're not just fanboys. Right.
No, I'm going to tell you because you can't be just a fanboy.
Right.
Okay. But many of the interpretations that I have had of what I saw, I've had to modify.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to change some of my thinking.
Because you've peeked under the curtain.
Yes, and I liked what I saw. And that is a delight. Most businesses, most organizations, if you want to find out the I can tell you this because I've done sales before. Whenever I would go in to a company that I wanted to get business for, I used to sell. We'll talk about it another time. But I've been a salesman.
Yeah.
My whole life, basically sales. But I would always go in the back door and talk to the janitor and the people around back smoking a cigarette.
Sure.
Because I'd find out what's really going on.
Right. In the company.
I go in the back.
Yes.
Whenever I go into a company, I wander in the back like I'm lost. I believe Fletch did that in the movie at the airport, if I'm not mistaken. I think he posed as a airline mechanic, didn't he? Or a rep from a company or the specialist.
Yeah.
Remember? It's kind of how I do it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't play like you play. You're a little confused and peek around.
Yes.
Well, that's the way I'm built. When I did that, I liked what I saw. I saw things that no one sees. I saw battery packs on a table, how they're designed, how they're built. Got to touch them, feel them, test them, look at them. And they are as wonderful to hear and read about as they are to see. So my reality connected with what the story and fable was. And it was true. It's parallels.
Mm-hmm.
There was no letdowns.
Right.
None. No letdown. A couple. And we could talk about them over the next couple of weeks. I don't think we could do it today. But I will say there's a couple of things that matched your and I
expectations.
Yeah, we knew some of the downsides. But a lot of the downsides that I thought were just not true. Just not true, Frank.
Yeah, urban legends and stuff like that.
That's the word I was thinking of when we were talking about Mundline and the girls in the high school. Legends,
yes,
urban legends. They grew fast in high school.
Yes,
they did.
They do.
I mean, by the time lunch hit, you know,
you're
running the Mundline to find her.
Yes, young hormones are amazing. I know. It spurs a lot of urban legends. Okay, moving on.
Yeah. So the question is yes, it was like peeking underneath a curtain. And I found out about the service centers, the culture, how they're diagnosed, which is very interesting. Yeah. Ask me another question.
So the equipment that you use to do your diagnostic work, is that something that, because you're going to be doing Tesla repairs going forward in your shop?
Yes.
So our listeners need to know that we're just not talking theoretically about, battery powered cars and that.
We're really going to do it. In fact, we are doing it. In fact, Frank, tell everyone what I've just did. What did I just buy?
Yes. So, and I imagine there may be more available for sale, but there are used Teslas that through Hertz.
You talked about it.
Yes.
On our show about I call it dumping, maybe, because there's a lot of unhappy retailers of used Teslas that don't like it.
There's a lot of unhappy stock owners, and I will raise my hand. That own stock in Tesla, that the stock took a little bit of a hit
because of that.
Yes,
it did.
But my guess is long term it'll be okay.
If you can't change it, take advantage of it.
You roll with it.
You roll with it, and I did, and I bought a beautiful 2022 Model 3 with some miles on it, which is what we want, though.
Yeah,
I want to see the shoes where the wear is.
Right.
I want to see if the laces break. I want to see where I need to polish up the leather. And I'm not going to see that on anything but something that's been put through its paces. And rental cars are what?
Well,
they put
road hard and beat.
Okay, let me tell you.
Yeah.
If I had got 10 people in a row and asked them, how do you drive a rental car differently than you drive your own car? And they smile.
Yeah.
And it's a Cheshire cat smile.
Yes.
Right, from Alice in Wonderland.
Absolutely.
Sure. Do I drive a car differently when I road tested for our radio show? Well, you're firsthand witness to it.
Yes.
As you roll into the back seat.
and my cell phone does backflips.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's part of the process of seeing things, and that would be maybe peeling the onion away.
Yes.
But I got to see behind the curtain. See, looking behind the curtain is different. than peeling the layers of the onion.
Yes.
It's completely different.
Because you still have the onion and you still haven't gotten down to the
Well,
meat of the onion.
That's right.
Yes.
But no one ever says you can't peel an onion to eat it.
Yeah.
But when you peek behind the curtain, you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yes.
One's voyeur. I'm a voyeur when I'm peeking behind the curtain to see
Mm.
what's going on at Tesla.
Yes.
When I'm doing the onion, I'm just doing a science experiment.
So when a Tesla owner comes into your shop tomorrow,
Yes.
you'll be able to at least walk them through whatever their issues
I'll be able
are.
to walk them through maintenance. We'll be able to talk about it. Am I going to be an expert? Absolutely not. And you would know that.
But you have resources.
I have resources
Yes.
to be an expert.
Yes.
But if you're I don't have enough track. I don't have enough track time.
You don't have real world experience.
But
yet.
yes.
Yes.
I can race on any track in the world.
Mhm.
Now we're referring to track as cars.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to crash on the track. It may take me longer to get around the track,
Right.
but we do a full lap.
Mhm.
And it is worthy of note that it is a good time on my track, of
Mhm.
any track, whether it's a German track, a Mercedes, whether it's a Korean track, a Hyundai, well, it doesn't matter. But some of them I can go faster than others. And remember, I know Teslas.
Mhm.
I now understand Teslas. And is it a religion? That's a good question.
Mm.
Maybe. It's that radical of a departure. And not in the EV world, just the whole thing.
Yeah.
Frank, everything's different. It's not Kansas anymore. It's so different you just don't understand.
Right.
It would be like
They threw away the book of the legacy car makers and kind of wrote their own script.
everything.
Yes.
Everything. It would be when you go to get on an elevator, right?
Mhm.
What's the first thing you do if you want to get on an elevator? You got to push a button, right?
Yeah.
Light comes on. Now, what happens if you walked up to that elevator and all you had to do was reach into your pocket and pull out a card?
And intuitively,
the door opened up.
yes, and it knew where
You were going.
destination. Yes.
That's what's going on
Yes.
with the Teslas.
Oh, I like that's a great analogy. Very good.
Isn't that right?
I
And
like
I
it.
can visualize. It's made out of stainless steel too, by the way, the elevator.
Yes.
Full of stains from the rust.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, this is going to be our last time out, so stick with us. We have a lot more to cover when we return, so stick with us.
Introducing the Buick Fauci with built-in GPS that's got you covered wherever you go.
Fauci, I'd like to drive to the bank.
That's a good reason for a mask.
Other GPS systems make driving predictable, but when it comes to giving directions, the Fauci can't make up its mind.
Fauci, take me to Macy's.
I don't think we have enough information to do that, quite honestly.
Driving in bad weather is never an issue because the Fauci doesn't follow the science. It follows the teachers' unions.
Fauci, I need to drop my kid off at school.
I totally disagree with you.
The Buick Fauci, the car that's been locking down the competition for over a year.
Fauci, can you show me how to get to the theater?
Here we go again with the theater. Let's get down to the facts.
He used to work for Tesla.
Yeah.
He broke away, though.
He did.
He said facts only, and
Yeah.
he had to disappear.
Just the facts.
Yeah.
So they so Hertz went ahead and put brand new tires on your
Brand new
Tesla.
tires. Yep. One key only.
Okay. Do you think this is just me thinking? Do you think it would have been a better idea for them to have at least taken a picture of the wear patterns on the original tires or the used tires before
Yeah.
they changed the skins.
And I agree because listen, I'm it's going on the alignment machine.
Yeah.
I don't know what I've got.
That's the
I
problem.
don't know what I've got.
It's
As good as we say Hertz is, I don't know what I got.
yes.
I don't know. But I'm prepared for that.
Yeah.
In fact, it's okay if something happens.
Right.
Don't mind it
Right.
because
You can noodle your way through it. Yes.
but
Yes.
that's how I become an
That's
expert.
That's how you learn. Yeah.
That's how I become the guy.
hmm
Crown Tesla.
So you have the proper alignment machine that
Yes.
will work on this car,
Yes. Yes.
and you're pretty convinced that you'll probably never have to change the brakes as long as you own it.
Absolutely, because it's one pedal driving.
It's one pedal drive. The regenerative braking will take care of the stopping for you.
And for everyone out there that may ask what regenerative braking is, it's the ability for the vehicle to put free electricity back into the battery.
Yeah.
That's all you know.
Basically.
If you want to know more, you can, but that's really what it's doing.
Right.
It's you think it's braking, it's not braking. It's really the electric motor
Right.
becoming a generator, and it's the load from the creation of the electricity. You know, the field. When you energize a field on an electric motor and you spin it yourself, it generates electricity, and there's load created because that's how it has to be work
Right.
to create, kinetic energy from potential.
hmm
The process of creating potential energy into kinetic, it's not just a free ride. If it was, we wouldn't have power bills.
Right. Right. Right.
The
Yeah.
only reason we have power bills is why someone's got to turn the generators to create FP&L's electricity.
Mm.
On my car, it's the inertia of the vehicle rolling. For FP&L's purposes, it's whether it's an engine, a gas turbine, or a nuclear plant, there has to be some source of turning of the generator.
hmm
In fact, a nuclear power plant uses steam,
Yes.
right? Steam. So it's just all generators. It's not a free ride. You have to put energy in to get energy out.
Yes.
The second law of energy is neither created or destroyed. It just changes form.
Correct.
Right. Second law of thermodynamics, I believe.
Mhm.
If I'm not mistaken.
You are correct, sir.
But it's hard to understand if I tell somebody or my friend or relative or customer that you're not really that brake pedal that you think you're braking on when it's in the regenerative mode
Mhm.
is a trick.
Yeah.
It's a false. It's a oil-based cylinder that has resistance in it to give you the sensation of resiliency and pushback while you push the brake, just like a normal brake.
Right.
But that's not really it's not a true effect that's coming through the pedal because of the brakes. It's generated to give you the sensation of putting the brakes on. All the while, the electric motor that propelled you up the hill is now generating electricity going down the hill. But you think you're putting the brakes on. All you're doing is regulating the field to the inductive electric motor. And that, by the way, is why inductive electric motors are so effective, because you can change the polarity of the opposing magnets that become energized. And that's how you get how much electricity is generated. And inductive motors, who were invented by
Tesla.
Nikola Tesla. That's the whole
Mhm.
reason it's called Tesla.
hmm
And that T that they make,
Right. It was really the heart of the electric motor, right?
it's a cross section of the rotor.
Yeah. hmm
It's the rotor.
hmm
And he has special rotors on that. They're a work of art. Everything is very it would be like me watching a magic show as a kid, and then for Christmas you get 101 tricks,
Yes.
and then you find out how they really work.
Yes.
That's what it was like.
Yes.
That's what it was like for me going to this school.
Yeah.
I knew what was taking place, but now I got to read how it takes place. I got the instructions to do the trick.
So you know where the rabbit goes.
Yes, I know where the tricks are.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
once you know where the tricks are,
Mm.
you become more actualized. You become more.
It validates your
There's a
posi-
validation in
Mm.
my brain,
Mm,
Yeah.
Indeed.
and as long as it's a positive validation, in which it was,
Right. So it bodes well for your customers.
there's no
and-
trickery and chicanery
Yes, that's
in
important.
this with Tesla.
Yes,
It's all the real deal.
yes, that's important to know. That's
There's
very
nothing
important.
trickery. There's
Mhm.
no false claims.
No fancy footwork.
And there is, I'm going to tell you, a lot of times with a lot of car manufacturers,
Mhm.
these options they have. Oh, you get the performance package. It's stickers on the hood.
but
Okay.
the stickers perform well.
Okay. So back in the 70s, you could get the performance package on, say, a Buick.
Yeah.
Well, half of it was appearance.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with performance.
No.
It had all to do with perceptions.
Yes. Perceptions are reality. Yeah,
But
for a
I will
lot of
tell
people.
you, the reality of the perceptions really is science and reality on a Tesla.
Yeah.
There is some whiz bang, gotcha, just interesting stuff that they do.
Mhm.
So different. There's no turning of anything or no button pushing.
Yeah.
To start to, okay, so by hybrid, the Hyundai Ioniq, you still
Mhm.
got to push a button when you get in it, right?
Right.
There's no button to push on these. Why do you need a button?
Yes.
If think of my elevator example.
Right.
If you go up to an elevator, you're either going up or down, or you're the repair guy. There's only one, or well, there's another reason too. But I think Aerosmith wrote a song about it.
Okay.
Do you know when they're talking about an elevator by
Probably.
Aerosmith? There's other things that can happen.
Yes.
It's when you hit the emergency stop.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but for the most part, people are going up or down,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And in some cases, sideways.
Yes.
Willy Wonka's elevator, I
Yeah.
believe, went
I
sideways.
think Star Trek on the Enterprise too.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a lot of things with Tesla
Mm-hmm.
that surprise you because they go sideways and you never expected it.
Yeah.
You thought it was up and down.
Yes.
And then when you got in, you realized not only that, but you're going sideways too, and you can't figure it out until you look at the science and what he's done in his innovation. And his innovation is just genius. And innovation in a company starts with one person.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with the entrepreneur or the maverick or the aha moment for one person. And that's what builds these great companies.
Right.
Apple, what is it? Wozniak.
Wozniak and Stephen Jobs.
Stephen Jobs.
Mhm.
What started Apple in a garage.
Mm-hmm.
And look where we're at today.
Yes.
Who invented the mouse? They did.
Mm-hmm.
The GUI, graphic interface with
Mhm.
the mouse that we all call a mouse. That was
Mhm.
Apple. And okay, you want a company that's very similar to Tesla? Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Apple. It's Apple-ish.
Well, in fact, I think that
I'm surprised there's not a
early-
partnership. Go ahead.
early on, I think that Tesla, Elon Musk had complained or mentioned that he felt that any competition he would get in the future, he thought would come from Apple.
I bet you that I'm going to do some homework for next show. I bet you if I research it, I bet you some of the engineers came from Apple.
Well, yeah, but yes, and he's referred to his cars as little more than an iPad with wheels.
It is.
Hmm?
I'm going to give you one example of
All
that.
right. Mm-hmm.
Learned up in this week the strategy and the diagnostic process of figuring out a problem. It's typically that you've been around me. You hook it up to the DLC connector and you can get codes and you can look at data.
Mm-hmm.
What if I told you that every single component on a Tesla is a networked computer to every other piece?
Wow.
And for the most part, the scan tool is built into the car. It's not really a scan tool. Think of a home network on a Microsoft Office system. That's the way Teslas are. Different. Completely different.
Wow. Interesting.
You don't diagnose like you think you do. Codes, trouble codes, diagnostic trouble codes. If you're a longtime listener of mine, you know.
They'll give you the hint to what to start looking at. Yeah.
They give you information about the surroundings, the environment of how it and what had happened.
Mm.
You can take their codes and go right to the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Nice.
This computer didn't talk to this computer in the right way, so it has a code.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the typical manufacturer, this sensor didn't have a good reading, therefore it threw a code. It's different than a sensor not reading right.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the
legacy companies, they change out the sensors, but they still don't know what the problem is.
right, there's all your
Yeah.
field data, background, all your landscape of when, where, what.
Mm-hmm.
That's what is the code.
Mm-hmm.
It's the location. It's location-based diagnosis as opposed to object-based diagnosis.
Interesting.
It's a whole different. I'm telling you, this thing puts you in warp overdrive. It'll melt you down.
So we're going to have much more to cover on this when we return next week.
Yes.
Because we're going to spend, a couple of shows talking about this, because it's just all...
Could end up being more than that.
At least.
Okay. I don't know. It just could be. I'm still behind the curtain. I don't want to come out yet.
We're peeling the onion for you right here on Crown Car Care Hour. So we thank you for listening. We'll be back again next week right here.
Take care. Bye.